guys, it's Caitlin here. I am here to talk about my second speech. It's going to be on CPR, and it's an informative speech. So let's get started. CPR, also known as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, is an absolutely essential and vital skill to have. Imagine that you are at a Christmas party with your family when all of a sudden your uncle collapses to the ground, completely unconscious and unresponsive. What do you do? Our society does not enforce or talk about how to save someone's life. Rather, they leave it to the professionals, even though that person's life is slowly fading away. By the time an ambulance arrives, the person might already be dead. Research shows that the human brain dies after 7 minutes of no brain activity. And sometimes the first responders won't even arrive until after those 7 minutes. Again, what do you do? Believe it or not, the previously mentioned scenario was something that I had to face myself. I took a summer camp in 7th grade that taught me first aid and CPR and what each essential first responder had to do, the police, fire, and EMTs. However, I did not think that I would have to put those skills to use, especially at such a young age. In a room full of adults, a young 12-year-old girl was the only one that knew what to do, and that says something about our society. If I did not act as fast as I did, my uncle would not be here today. The paramedics told me that he had less than a 10% of chance of living if I did not step in. Because I stepped in, my actions saved his life. Therefore, I am going to try my very best to explain the steps of CPR so that you too might have the chance of saving someone's life. First, you want to call 911, or if somebody is around you, have them call 911. You also always want to make sure that the scene is safe because you do not want to put yourself in harm's way. So if you see someone unresponsive and they're near like electrical wire that's in water, do not approach because you do not want to become a victim as well. Because if you're a victim, who is going to save both of you? First, you cannot be shocked. No matter how terrifying and traumatizing it is to see someone that you love or a complete stranger unresponsive on the ground, you have to put aside the feelings and detach yourself. You have to put yourself in a mindset that you need to act, because if you don't act, that person will die. Now that you're in the proper mindset, you need to act. Make sure not to step over the unconscious person because it is actually a sign of disrespect. Kneel down beside the person and assess their ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. Pinch the nose with one hand like so, and then use the other hand to push back on the chin area. So you want to gently do that so you can assess and look for any lodged particles, anything that is blocking the airway. And if you can reach it, and if you can't, don't worry about it, just perform CPR because that will help dislodge the particles. Now you want to determine if they are breathing, so look for equal chest rise and fall. And then you also want to check for a pulse by either checking for the carotid artery or on the wrist. Another way to see if the person is responsive is to tap their shoulders and ask if they are okay. And you can also perform a sternum rub in this area, which is just above the rib cage, near the rib cage. Now we get into performing CPR. This will involve both hands. You want to interlock both hands like so, having your weak hand, which is my left hand, below your dominant hand, because your dominant hand will be doing all of the work for you. You want to line your hands up on the sternum just below the rib cage. Using the palm of your weak hand, press down on the chest about 1 to 2 inches for adults and about 1.5 inches for children under the age of 12. At depth of about a third of the chest, you want to push down at a rate of about 100 to 120 beats per minute. You can do this by singing Staying Alive by the Bee Gees or simply by just counting. You always want to make sure that you are counting the proper amount. Perform 30 compressions before turning to breaths. To perform breaths, you will pull the head back by doing the head tilt chin lift maneuver, which is what I previously mentioned before by pinching the nose and using your other hand to gently pull back on the chin. You will then perform mouth to mouth, making sure to see if the chest rises and falls. You want to do this twice, so perform breaths twice and compressions 30 times. So it's a ratio of 30 to 2. You will want to continue sets of compressions and breaths until the ambulance arrives. Chest compressions should be about every 2 minutes, and you should make sure that there's chest recoil after performing breaths. This will let you know that they are gaining adequate circulation. Maintaining an adequate depth of compressions and ventilations will allow for blood flow throughout the body. Knowing these steps will help you save a life. You can pursue further information on this topic by visiting the American Heart Association, the AHA's website, on CPR classes. There are other things you can pursue, such as becoming an EMT or a paramedic or any entry-level medical field job. This will help you gain enough experience to move up, maybe even go to medical school and pursue a higher level education degree. You can use this knowledge to help you enter the medical field. I know that this life-changing event made me grow up faster, but also helped me realize that I belong in the medical field. My purpose is to help others. Knowing that I helped save someone with my own 2 hands is such an amazing feeling, and something that I want to help other people learn, and I just want to help other people. Even if the medical field is not for you, there are other ways you can help people. Maybe you are visiting a relative in an assisted living center and they become unresponsive. Now you have the skills to save them. Maybe you are out shopping when someone collapses. Now you have the skills to save them. Maybe you are at the park and someone runs to you saying their child is unresponsive and pointing to them. Now you have the skills to save them. So, now that you know the steps of CPR, what are you going to do with it?